Neil Graham with Phoenix Rising here, and this short video is specifically for those coaches who are coaching third grade and older teams. It's really a age specific kind of guide to what sessions, your practice sessions should hopefully look like, and what things look like when you come to playing games on a Saturday as well. So this presentation, 4 or 5 slides, we'll send it out to you as a PDF style document so you can review it and look at it in more detail. I'm not going to read everything that is up here. You can do that yourself when you get the document. But the first slide here is kind of details the general characteristics of this age of children, and I think the difference once they start to get third grade and older compared to the younger ones, where the younger ones, there's the attention span is not great, and it's very me, egocentric, just give me the ball. At this point, they're now starting to understand the notion of teamwork, being on a team, being part of a team starts to feel quite important to these kids. And their attention span is definitely now at the point where they can take on much more details and start to think more abstractly about things and start to anticipate and think ahead, things like that. So we can start to introduce more kind of tactical concepts to the kids at this point, versus when they're younger, they're just not there yet. Obviously the other thing, once they start to get into this age, you're now talking about some kids physically mature much earlier than others, and those kids tend to have much better motor skills, so that can play a big part in it too, and something to consider, because those kids who physically mature early are clearly at an advantage. However, as we know, it does even itself out at some point. In terms of a typical practice session for this age group, probably an hour and 15 minutes, maybe hour and a half absolute maximum. If you've got an older team, maybe 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they might go a full hour and a half. But I think at this point you probably want to start introducing a structured warm-up, so it's the kids are getting into good habits. I mean, at this age, are they likely to pull a muscle? Probably not. But it's a good habit to get them into the idea of, before we go into full-on practice, we're going to have a little warm-up, do some dynamic stretching, get the blood flowing, get the heart rate up, and what have you. So start your practice like that. Then some activities based on whatever it is you want to work on at that particular practice, and then as usual, finish up as always rather with some form of small-sided game. 5v5, 6v6, and I think that's the part of practice kids enjoy the most typically, is that little scrimmage game at the end. So I think it's always good to get at least a 15-20 minute scrimmage at the end of practice. Some things for you to consider up here. As with all age groups, we always say avoid the 3 L's, and the 3 L's are no laps, no lines, no lectures. No soccer player ever in history enjoys those 3 things. We as coaches, sometimes the laps and the lines things is a very old school way of coaching, and yes, we may have been coached like that ourselves when we were younger, but there's far more enjoyable and creative ways to work on things at practice that are avoid laps and lines, and who likes to be lectured. Whilst their attention span is greater and you can get a little more time when you're explaining things out to them, if sometimes as coaches we feel there's so much information we want to give them and help them, but at some point you're just going on and on and on and you've lost them. So just keep it in mind, still short and sweet where possible. Maybe bring them in, make a couple of points, go play, before you think about bringing them in to tell them something else again. So I think 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, a lot of these kids still, the emphasis should be on refining and improving their technique and ball control skills, whether it's controlling a ball, striking a ball, dribbling the ball still. There's not really too much point in focusing on higher brow tactical things like offside traps or overlapping runs, if player A can't pass the ball 10 yards to player B, 9 times out of 10 the ball goes astray. We're trying to, again, we're trying to kind of run before we can walk there. So let's master the basics, and then once we feel we've got a good handle of those, then we can start to introduce the more tactical aspects of the game. I think, you know, whether it's at practice or halftime in a game and you're having a team talk, always a great idea to use one of those whiteboards and a marker, or if you don't have one of those, just use your cones and lay them down on the ground as a visual demonstration of whatever point it is you're trying to make. I think the kids really tend to understand and relate to that and stay engaged when you're showing them something visually, as opposed to you just talking about it. So that's a great idea to do that, as I say, at practice or possibly half time. At the end of the game, we would always recommend that you make it really short and sweet, particularly if you've lost, because you know no one enjoys losing. So at the end of it, hey, wasn't our day today, great effort, high five, see you at practice, move on. The last thing anybody wants to do is sit and listen to a coach tell them all the things they've done wrong at the end of a game. It's no fun for anybody, and whether we like it or not, the reality is most kids within minutes of the final whistle have completely forgotten about the game and have moved on and are ready to go for ice cream. And it's us as adults that are spinning our wheels over and over and over again all weekend long, thinking about what could I have done, what should I have done, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind. Again, they're still young kids. Let's keep it positive as much as possible. Make them want to come back to practice, make them want to come back to games, keep it fun. So, in terms of key rules, for the 3rd and 4th graders, they play 7v7, and the 5th graders and older play 9v9. For 6th grade and younger, rule currently is that there's no heading. That's a sort of thing that seems to change a lot in recent years, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if that age becomes older, that there's no heading. But for now, it's 6th grade and younger, no heading. For 7v7 games, they have a build-out line, which is also the offside line. So it's effectively, the build-out line would be a dotted line across that part of the field, and those are the offside lines for both teams. And also what that means is if this team defending this goal was a goal kick, the other team must retreat behind the build-out line. And the concept there is it would encourage the goalkeeper to maybe, the goalkeeper's got the ball, goal kick, can he or she play a pass out here to that defender and learn and practice building possession and working their way down the field possessing the ball, rather than just booting it as hard as they can down the field and hoping for the best. We're doing a disservice to the kids in terms of we're not really teaching them how to play if we're just kicking, it's a kick and hope, and hopefully the ball finds its way through and the fastest kid runs on it and scores. It's a very outdated, old school way of trying to play the game. I think we should be trying to teach the kids, hey, how do we pass the ball, how do we possess the ball, can we build our way down the field and try and attack with some meaningful possession. So that's the idea of the build-out line. Time you get into 9v9, the build-out line is gone, and it's more like the adult version of the game where the halfway line is the offside line. Goalkeepers are allowed to punt, versus 7v7 they're not allowed to punt. When you're playing 7v7, you'll just have that one referee, versus most likely when we're 9v9 you'll have 3 referees, so 2 assistant referees on the side that are calling offsides. So those are the kind of key rules for 7v7, 9v9. Hopefully it makes sense. We normally send out the actual referee rule book to all coaches at the start of season 2, but obviously if you've got any questions on those rules, please let us know. Otherwise, that is the general, very sort of simple guide to how we suggest you go about coaching teams that are 3rd grade and older. And we are here to help you as much or as little as you require. So please reach out if you've got any questions, and we're happy to help. and we hope you have a fantastic season. So thank you again for coaching.